Hi guys, today I'll be taking out the USS Montana and talking about what it is capable of and my thoughts are in the battle and what this ship is really like compared to other tier 10 battleships. So this ship, the USS Montana, has 406mm guns and it has a rate of fire of 30 seconds. Its citadel damage is 13,500 damage per citadel. So if you get a flat broadside and all it has four turrets with two at the front, two at the back. All four of them are triple guns. So there is 12 guns in total, which is joint highest um, amount of guns with the gross occur first. Now the reason why the Montana is such a good and nice flowing ship is we are going up against the Yamato and Kremlin here, and talking about both of them is like this: they both have good health, the Kremlin and the Yamato, but they don't have a fourth turret. As you can see from the Musashi to my left over here, the Musashi is another Yamato class, and it only has 3 turrets. Yes, these are 18-inch guns compared to the 406s on the Montana, but the Montana's guns are more accurate. So instead of the Montana going for pure just battlefront, just going straight in there and battle attacking everything, you sadly can't do that in the Montana of what you can do in the Musashi or the Yamato class or the Grosser first class or even the Conqueror class, which you can't really citadel. And yeah, the Conqueror is a very nice ship. And what I usually do at the start of these games is I usually try and get myself into a good advantage to support the destroyers. Now the destroyers for me in a battleship are key. These destroyers are basically spotting for me and keeping me alive. They are screening me. So what screening means in War Thunder terms is if there's a destroyer and the destroyer pops torpedoes, I am not like the Gross Occur first where I have Hydro. So I have a spotting plane, but it only circles around and it only spots things where it's directly over the top of them. So it might take a full rotation before it spots any torpedoes. So these destroyers are actually keeping me alive because they are spotting the torpedoes before they can ever reach me. So like the Cossack on the enemy team, the Benham could screen the Cossack's torpedoes, or the Fletcher in front of me could screen the Cossack's torpedoes and help me survive against these torpedoes that can be fired from the enemy destroyers. Also, the Montana has very good armor. It's a bit like a long-ranged sniper. Very good accuracy, good armor at longer ranges, because it has the maneuverability to dodge certain shells. Now this is very good because, like this Moskva here, a lot of the time ships just love just to stay still and, like the Moskva, just stay still and act like a shield, like a barrier. Now obviously you need to speed up because I am spotted. That was a good 11,000 damage on it. Wish it could have been more. As a battleship captain, if you have one fire on your ship, don't repair it. Mainly because if you have 2 fires on your ship, yes, you can repair that. But from what I've learned over the past couple years of me playing water warships, is now I have 2 fires, I can just pop my heal. So I'm trying to keep my repair so that when I actually need it, I can then pop it. For me right now, the biggest problem that I have is not running into my friendlies, which I'm just about to do, because he decided to run into me, but also this enemy Yamato in front of me. Now, if this destroyer captain was actually good and he done his job, what he would be doing right now is, one, he'll be screening me for these torpedoes, which I was talking about earlier, which is kind of a destroyer's job. But also, he could actually smoke up in front of me, and I'm more than likely dead here. This is more than likely me dead. I can't turn away. They have 6 players firing at me. I'm basically dead here. But I will carry on, and I'll carry on talking about the USS Montana for a little while longer. So, all this plunging fire is because of 2 reasons. So, what I could have done better here is actually turn before. But also, I needed help from my team as well. I can't do that by myself. I can't destroy all these enemy teams by myself. So, if you have a look at the minimap now, there is a Baltimore, a Cleveland, and there's obviously a smoke screen there. So that's more than likely going to be from the enemy Jutland. Or maybe I can't pronounce the middle one. I'm sorry, I'm bad at pronouncing names, but that is the Tier 9 French destroyer. Yes, the Friesland. So no, the Friesland is actually not a French destroyer. The Friesland, I believe this is going to be the Friesland because it has 1 second reload time. It is the brand new Dutch destroyer that has been implemented into the game, and it's game breaking because it actually has a 1 second reload, but it doesn't actually have torpedoes. So I don't understand where those torpedoes came from. Maybe the Jutland is in there with him. I do not know. But this Yamato is going to be dead here as well. So our Des Moines, Fletcher, Musashi, and myself were basically outnumbered from the start. They have a Moskva, very hard hitting shells, and they also have a Lion, which is a T9 British battleship, and obviously the British battleships have something very nice about them, which is excellent high explosive. The Yamato is doing the right thing. He is bow tanking the Baltimore shells, so the Baltimore can't actually pen him from the bow because he doesn't have the armor penetration. He also can't penetrate certain parts of his deck armor, which is actually on the bow. The only parts that he can pen are actually on his superstructure. Going back to my gameplay, what I thought about this game was, I thought we had a winning team right here. I thought, we had a Montana, Fletcher, Musashi, and a Des Moines going down one side. Clearly, they put half the team down one side, half the team down the other side, so it was a split between. Whereas now, what our team done was, it was only us 4 down one side, and then the other 8 allied ships down the other side, and the Montana has come back over again, and we can go to this Montana here. And this Montana, as you can see, 406mm guns, and it has tripled barrels on each side. These are its secondaries, so I can't remember the caliber of these guns, but these are actually Gearing class destroyer guns strapped to the side of the USS Montana. So that kind of puts into perspective of how much and how big destroyers are compared to battleships. Also about the USS Montana, it has, so its armor here on the side, which I'm looking at right now, it is heavy armor, so it's 460mm of armor, and just below that his citadel armor is just above the waterline by a fraction, and it's 258. So any battleship can penetrate the citadel at any tier. So that's, well, any tier it's going to face, which is tier 8 and tier up, and tier 8, tier 9 and tier 10. Any of these battleships can penetrate the citadel of the USS Montana. And what's good about the USS Montana is its firing arcs, and also it's like gun angling as well. So it doesn't have to turn full broadside, or it doesn't have to show any citadel, to be honest, to be able to fire all of its main guns. But the problem with this Montana player here, and I'm not trying to criticize him or anything like that, but he is going up against a Yamato, and he was broadside, so he actually was committed into a paddling. Now, the Yamato is amazing at doing any of this because he has 18-inch guns. He can penetrate the bow armor of any of its ship rivals. So the Republic, the tier 10 French battleship, the USS Montana, the tier 10 American battleship, and also the Frederick the Grosser. No, not Frederick the Grosser, Grosser Kurfürst, the tier 10 German battleship. Now this is very interesting because when the Yamato goes bow in, a matter of fact, you can't penetrate its bow armor with anything less than 460mm guns, which obviously the Yamato has got 460mm guns, hasn't got anything less than 460mm guns. The only other ship which has 460mm guns is the Megami class, is not the Megami class, the Musashi class. Sorry if I get it wrong. At the same time, the concealment on the Montana is probably its best strength, just going round about 13.1 or 14.1 kilometers. This is quite good because if you're straying into the Montana's range, its secondaries are actually 6 kilometers. So if you're going around a corner and you see a cruiser at, well, 6.5 kilometers, 6 kilometers, you can then use the secondary to be able to do some massive amounts of damage, wait for them to turn broadside just so they can launch torpedoes at you, and then use all 12 of your guns to hit as many citadels as you can. The turret traverse, on the other hand, is like the Grosser Kurfürst turret traverse. It's quite slow, but it's also fast for its tier. So it is quite fast for the tier. The Yamato does have the slowest turret traverse. Now, I can't remember all the facts about all of this, but I do know that the Yamato does have the slowest turret traverse because of its 18.1-inch guns, if you want to get picky about it, with 18-inch guns, which each weigh, I believe, is round about 10,000 tons each. So each turret weighs 10,000 tons. So this game is pretty much lost, and there's nothing really else I can say about this battle apart from what I should have done better. What I should have done better is actually seeing that the Yamato was there and seeing that the Moskva was there, and instead of actually firing at the Moskva, I should have waited, and I should have waited to actually be spotted by an enemy destroyer, because as soon as I was actually spotted, the enemy destroyer, in fact, and also the Cleveland, had actually got into position where they can go into a smoke screen and they can just gun me down, so can the Moskva, high explosive me down, cause loads and loads of fires, and at the end of the day secure the win for their team. So this is my representation of the USS Montana. I would hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.